What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. We're back. We had a little hiatus. I had COVID. Big Nick was traveling for work. Then I was
so you
traveling.
did have COVID. Damn, you're like a two-time offender, huh?
I'm a 2x survivor of the vid, so I'm good, man. I'm super antibodied up right now. I got the fresh joints.
Does the vax work?
We got a lot to talk about.
Does the vax work, or is it all a myth, man?
Come on, man. What I look like? Aaron Rodgers? Come on, cut it out.
Got the natural immunity.
Yeah, herd immunity, but no vax type shit. Yeah, get out of here. All right. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about, man. NBA is going crazy. Speaking of COVID, there's a lot of guys getting signed off the street. We're gonna touch on that. We're gonna touch on power rankings. We're gonna touch on what squad has the depth to get to the end of the year. And who we think can deal with if they lose a guy or two with COVID in a really bad spot, either going into the playoffs or even in the playoffs. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NBA in general. Then we'll dip NFL power rankings. It's week 16, or we just passed week 16. Week 17 is coming up. Then we got week 18. Then we're in the playoffs. The MVP in the NFL is still up for discussion. Maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NFL power rankings. What changes need to happen here coming into the new year? Some quarterbacks didn't get deals. We're going to talk about quarterbacks not getting deals. Baker Mayfield. I want to talk about Lamar Jackson not getting his deal because now look at where we are with that. So we got a lot of things to talk about, man. You already know. Stay locked with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get it.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick. What's goody?
What's the business?
Gee, man, happy holidays. Merry Christmas,
holidays.
man.
Absolutely.
Man, for y'all that don't know, Big Nick the Quick got a full-blown teenager now, man. She's grown now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How you feel about that? How was that?
How was that Christmas? It was great, man. Actually, she was it's a lot easier to shop for her now because she's pretty straightforward about what she wants. So obviously now she's all into clothes and everything. So we got her some Nikes, got her some Uggs, got her she wanted these Doc Martens, so we got her that, got her some clothes and then some other things. Grabbed her the AirPods. So it's kind of surreal though, man. You see the photo that Nick posted. She looks like she's like 16.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but it was great, man. Holidays were lovely, man. It's always I'm at that point, like I think with Christmas where like I really enjoy giving gifts at this point. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy giving to those who are important to me. So I was kind of looking forward to it for that reason. Like I'm never really amped up on what I'm gonna get. I haven't been in a long time. Like obviously I get shit and I enjoy what I get. Don't get it twisted, but it's more about like, all right, let me put some thought into getting this and, making it happen. But like I told you, look, hey, the best thing I did was I was done Christmas shopping by like December 6th. Like literally done.
Bro, I was talking shit to you about that. Bro, I was panicking, bro. I was running
you were in the race.
Dog, I fucked up.
Yeah. But, hey,
it was so whack.
Never again. Never again.
Dog, I
was done. The first week of Christmas, first week of December, wrapped up 100%, kicked my feet up. Like, no worries.
I was in the car like eating lunch because I'm going in between stores. It was bad, bro.
I didn't even go into a single store. That's how great I did it.
Yeah,
it was all online, all early, boxes at the crib. No stress. Spent last week, feet up.
It was all bad. Yo, but genuinely, bro, if I didn't get a present from anybody, not one single present, that shit wouldn't have fazed me at all.
Yeah,
like, so I'm with you 100% on that. Let everybody else get some presents, and especially I don't have any kids yet, but when they come, it'll definitely be like, dog, don't even get.
And that's what it's about.
And I legit. Well, this is the other thing too, and I'm gonna keep it 100. You're probably gonna give me some shit that's gonna be. I'm gonna have to go run around and take it back and do it. Like, listen, bro, just don't even trip. I'm good. I got everything I need. I don't need anything else in the house. I told Alyssa, I'm like, look, anything you bringing in the house, you throwing something out.
Right.
Like all these new presents and shit.
You
better throw some shit out of here, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not about to have the crib all stacked up with shit because we got no, we're not doing
100%. 100%.
But let's jump into it. NBA. Big Nick the Quick has been locked on the NBA. I've been so locked on the NFL that the NBA has been secondary. Outside of the Bulls, I haven't missed the Bulls game yet, but I've been watching.
Bulls games are so enjoyable to watch.
They are.
I just wanted to just throw that. It's so much fun to watch the Bulls.
Yeah, they are so much fun. But other than that, I've been super locked on the NFL. But I know you've been locked on the NBA. We can talk a little power rankings here. Let's start with this. What's your thoughts on the state of the league right now with guys like Joe Johnson coming back? Born Ready's now back in the league.
Born Ready back in the league. Isaiah Thomas back in the league. They pulled Darren Collison out of retirement. Greg Monroe out of retirement.
Yeah.
ISO Joe.
ISO Joe
Joe is 41 years old, getting a call from the league.
Man, and in better shape than Luka Doncic. So that's what you need to know.
And the buckets are still there. Those buckets will never disappear.
Yeah.
ISO Joe can still get a little run going. It's crazy, man. Like I think it's interesting on a couple levels, right? I know we're going to talk a little bit about how depth is going to be very important to teams this year, right? Like the deep teams are obviously going to be at an advantage, but it also kind of shows like how GMs are thinking, because you're like, it's either this, right? We go out and we sign 40-year-old ISO Joe, or we sign some 22-year-old kid who's never played an NBA game. And the GMs are saying, in this situation, in a pinch where we might be signing you on Tuesday and you're playing on Wednesday, we're opting for guys who at least know what it's like to go through the experience of playing in an NBA game, whether it's the warm-up, showing up to the arena on time, going through the game plan, how to handle yourself, what it's going to be like in front of 30,000 people. Like, I don't think that we, obviously you could, again, go sign some undrafted guy or somebody like that and bring him in there and might get a look at a young kid. But if you're a coach, if you're a GM, you're like, man, I don't have time to acclimate somebody to the NBA. So I'll go sign Joe Johnson. Yeah, it's been a couple years, but he's played in, 1,200 NBA games. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to phase him at all. So it's cool to see some of these dudes get an opportunity. I know a lot of people were pulling for IT to get back in the league because he was dropping 70 on janitors in LA this summer, and everybody thought that he should come back to the NBA for that. But I'm not hating, man. I'm all for it, man. I'm obviously a big Lance Stevenson guy. Bulls have signed a few guys, whether it be like McKinney or get somebody else. I forgot who it is, but it's just interesting times, man. The teams that are going to be able to navigate through this, the teams that have depth, the teams that made smart moves over the offseason, the teams that hold on to their depth. I know we talked about this a little bit in our group chat yesterday as far as trading Kobe White or not to trade Kobe White. I'm not sacrificing any depth for anybody. Like no 2-for-1s, no 3-for-2s, like none of that. Because you lose one of those guys that you trade
for.
Bodies
right now.
Bodies. You just need capable bodies, man. Your roster is your roster, right? Lock in. Like, unless it's a trade where you're getting 3-for-3, like I give you 3 guys that can play and you give me 3 guys back that can play. Yeah. I don't need to shrink my depth at all. I'm not trying to shorten my bench. So I think that that's going to play a major impact at the trade deadline. I think that's why it's been kind of quiet.
People are scared to lose some players that are already, they have already depleted roster as is.
And if you're a shit team and you got some end of bench guys that might be intriguing, you should be calling the better teams and being like, hey, we got this guy. Yeah, he's normally a 10th man, but in COVID days, he's the 7th man. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy.
And I think as we get on later into the season, I know that the NBA has their own protocols, but if I'm an NBA coach, if I'm Billy Donovan, I got my own protocols. Like, this is damn near the bubble.
Yeah,
when we get towards the playoffs. Like, y'all are locked up. Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Y'all go home, kick it. But anytime you step outside the house, you're super masked up and you're not doing too much, bro.
I don't want to meals together. Shit's getting delivered to the hotel.
Yes. I don't want to hear about y'all out doing team dinners, none of that. And I'm not talking about right now. I mean, we still got time. I think the Bulls obviously are going to make the playoffs and they're going to make some noise. I truly believe that. And we've been saying that since before the season started. But I think it's going to be interesting where you're talking about if you get COVID right at the start of a playoff series, you're missing 3 games.
Yeah.
Almost.
Forget about it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, it's spread a little bit. And the next thing you know, you're basically bounced from the playoffs because your whole team can't play.
Right.
So, like, that's where I think it's going to be interesting, where we get closer to the playoffs down towards the end of the season. And it's folks like, I know NBA got protocols, but bro, this is the Chicago bubble. And we're not at the United Center, you need to be your ass need to be at the crib in a mask, chilling. Don't bring nobody to the house. None of that.
Yeah,
kick it with your girl.
Just wait till the summertime.
Order some shit. Wait till we get out of the playoffs. Then you go do whatever you want to do.
And it's, and you say it's come from the coach. It's really going to come from like the veteran teams, right?
Guys,
like if you got strong vets, you know what I mean? Like I know the Lakers are trash right now, but you look at someone like the Warriors, something like that. Like, yo, Steph and Dre are like, hey, we're in the house. If you're Jonathan Kuminga or Andrew Wiggins or one of these young guys, Jordan Poole, you're in the house.
Yo, listen,
Dre's gonna be at the crib
fellas.
like, hey man, you here? You here, Jordan Poole? All right, we're just making sure you at the crib. It's gonna be like room check.
Just pick 2 of the joints you like the most. Just get 2.
Isolate them
too. And that's it. The single boys, I get it. Like it's a little tougher when you're single, right? You want to be out moving around. You got a couple joints you talking to, whatever. But listen, they in the bubble too. They want to kick it. They in the bubble. They in the protocol. Like that's it. That's what it is.
And this has to be the most important thing you got going on. And we're not saying that everybody that's getting it is getting it by going to the club, but guess what? Right. That increases your chance, right? Like that increases your chance 100%. So stay in the crib. The season's not that long. Lock in. The way it's going right now, too, everybody has a chance. You just said it. Anybody is likely to miss 3 playoff games. Anybody. Right. KD down to the 12th man on the 10th team that makes it. Right, yep. Everybody is likely to it could miss a playoff game, and that could swing it for you. And we're coming off of what? 2 out of the last 3 NBA championships were majorly swung by injuries. Right, the Bucks winning 1, Toronto winning 1. Like, so we've seen it, and that was somewhat regular circumstance for Toronto. I know the Bucks had to deal with COVID shit, but we're fully in this, man. Like, you are one primetime player going down from making a huge run and being an NBA champion. So, like, to me, that's worth it. Like, any team, I really feel like that. Any team has a chance to make a run, except for maybe the Lakers.
Yeah, no doubt. So, the Lakers is finished. All right, let's get into the hoops then. So, we got the COVID talk out of the way. We got that done and dusted. But that's going to be something to keep an eye on later in the year. There's no doubt about that. So, Nick the Quick texted me, and he said, hey, are we just buying time till we get another Phoenix Milwaukee finals? And I didn't say anything back. I just was like, yeah, let's talk about that, because obviously the Golden State Warriors are coming off a W over the Suns on Christmas Day. They look sensational. The new power rankings came out going into the end of the year, and Golden State's number 1, Phoenix is number 2. Where are you at on those guys? And we got Brooklyn at number 3. But where are you at on those 2 guys specifically in the West? Because something tells me you like Phoenix a little more because you sent me that message.
Yeah, I really like Phoenix, man. I think Phoenix is the deepest team in the NBA. I think Phoenix has 10 guys I think they have 7 or 8 guys in double digits. And to my count, 10 guys that can play, right? Like, they were deep last year, but their biggest issue was they didn't have any big man help. They got down the playoffs, and when Saric went down, they're playing Kaminsky. Yeah. They're doing all types of crazy things. But what they do, they signed 3-time NBA champion and gold medalist JaVale McGee. And you know how I feel about JaVale McGee at 15 minutes a game. There's nothing better, right? So I thought that was a huge move. So you added depth there. And they were already deep. You got 2 point guards, right? Cam Payne can come in and shown you in the right situation. He can kind of spell Chris Paul and play some big minutes. You got Cam Johnson coming off the bench. We got Boss Man 99. You know what I mean? We got who's my man's? I
got it pulled up right here. They have 9 guys in double figures.
9 guys in double figures.
Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Frank Kaminsky, Cam Payne, and JaVale McGee. Yeah. All average 10 plus points. And then Boss Man 99 is at 9.
Exactly. And
then Landry Shamet's at 8.
And you know what he's about as well. So that's, what is that? 11 guys that can play. Those are 11 guys that anybody in the NBA would take right now. In a heart, even Kaminsky, somebody be like, yeah, we'll take him right now. So I think that they're super deep. They've kept it going from last year. They've been the best team in the NBA record-wise, as far as consistency-wise, for the last 2 years. Like, let's keep it real with them, right? They haven't fallen off, right? If you thought last year was a fluke, pay attention to this year. They just got off that crazy streak. They've won 7 of their last 10. They have some issues with Golden State, but still, I mean, if you're looking top to bottom, I think that's the deepest team without a doubt, it's the deepest team in the NBA. No one else has 11 guys that can play.
Yeah.
And I think behind them is Milwaukee. Milwaukee, number 1, is left. I think Giannis figured it out last year in that Brooklyn series that whenever he wants to, and you saw it again on Christmas, whenever he wants to and the game's out of reach, he can just say, fuck it. Fuck it.
100%.
Fuck it. All right. You know what I mean? And he doesn't have to do that every night. And it's the smart thing to not have him.
And that's a dangerous switch. That's a dangerous
switch because you saw it last year. The man went for 50 in the closeout game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you saw once he figured it out in that Brooklyn series, it became, all right, if I just get physical, I can just dominate. Like, it's tiring, so I'm not going to do this every single night. But when I need to, in case of emergency, when we break open the little thing, Giannis comes out and he can put on that cape. And they're just a deep team. They're a well-coached team. They're a disciplined team. They're a team that's been together for a lot of years. That's going to matter in a situation like this. So, yeah, my question is, like, I like Brooklyn too, right? But Brooklyn is one injury away from the whole thing blowing up. And history says that those guys are going to get injured. KD gets injured. James gets injured. Kyrie might come back, but he will get injured or do some goofy shit. You definitely can't rely on him.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of nervous with them. And the Bulls, look, man, I love the Bulls, but I don't know if maybe we are, ready to take it to the championship. But I think Milwaukee is probably the most dangerous team in the East right now. The best team in the East, top to bottom. My number one contender would be Milwaukee.
Okay. And speaking of depth, Golden State got a couple of guys that could possibly be back here pretty soon. We got Clay and Wiseman that are allegedly coming back in the next few weeks, handful of weeks.
Yeah.
I think they have to get back as soon as possible. Because the longer we push it out, closer to the playoffs, it's gonna take 20 games for them to get acclimated and back. Because this team right now is rolling.
Yeah,
they know exactly what they want to do. This is the most I've seen a team get out of very mediocre players, and I don't even know how long. Like, these are regular dudes, and they are destroying people.
Yeah, Wiggins playing with half a pulse, which is crazy.
Yeah, so it's not that. Like, they have help coming, but what they've been getting out of the guys that they have on the roster right now is actually awesome. So I think that's going to be interesting to set. If they can get these guys, Clay and Wiseman, back, get them playing together with the guys that are already playing together and locked, then you got another deep ass team like Phoenix that has that championship pedigree as well.
And I don't want to pretend like we're ignoring another very deep team in the Western Conference in the Utah Jazz, but don't talk to me about Utah.
You said it is what it is?
It is what it is. I gotta
see it?
I gotta see it in the springtime, baby. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. They're gonna do this every year. They're deep, they're well coached, they have a very well-oiled machine. But talk to me in a crucial playoff series. Man, so that's all I gotta say about the Phoenix people out there.
But if this is the thing, bro. Connolly's the key, bro.
Yeah,
if he stays healthy and he can be there the whole way through the end of the year and the playoff, then they're a different team. But yeah, we'll see. I like that team a lot, man. I liked the team last year a lot.
You liked them last year a lot too. It was the same story.
Yeah, it was the same story.
They got Terrence. They got Terrence Mann.
It was the same story.
Same story. They were awesome last year. They're the best record in the NBA.
Yeah, they were awesome last year.
They're phenomenal last year. So I mean, yeah, I think when you look at the West, those are the three teams. Denver's just had too many injuries. It's kind of crazy almost that Denver's 500 because their entire roster
it's because Jokic is ridiculous. Bro.
He's ridiculous. Jokic
He's ridiculous.
And Mike Malone is a hell of a ball coach. They talk about getting out of guys that they wouldn't expect to get it from. You got no Michael Porter Jr. You got no Jamal Crawford. I mean, you're just kind of throwing together scoring any way that you can. And the fact that
what's the deal with Jamal? What's taking so long?
Just said Jamal Crawford. I meant Jamal Murray.
Yeah, Jamal Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, you know what he needs?
What does he need? Tell the people, Nick. Hey, tell the people, Nick. What does he need?
He needs that sloppy. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's still with Shorty or not, but he needs to go ahead and make that call.
I feel like he's been out forever, and I have no update.
For a long time.
And I have no update whatsoever on what's the deal with him. He needs to get back.
And and they got this Michael Porter. They give Michael Porter Jr. $200 million, and that's just instant regret.
Yeah, man, that's
instant regret.
Listen, it's obviously very early, and he could get back healthy, but it's the same thing we always bark about a long time dude with long time injuries.
Young guys with bad backs and bad knees. It's just not good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is all bad. So we'll see there. But yeah, shout out Jokic for continuing to do his thing on a nightly basis. He's the MVP, dog. Yeah. It is what it is. Like, I'm glad he got one, and I'm glad we appreciated it last year and continuing to see him produce this year because that dude is a real monster.
And you touched on it quickly, but I mean, we don't need to kill the Lakers right now. You already know how we feel on this, but Dallas, I think Luka needs to be getting more heat for Dallas being a game under 500.
He's out of shape.
He's way out of shape. He has not elevated that team. He hasn't taken that next leap that we all thought that he would because he can't because he's too fat.
He hasn't taken that
talked about, man.
He hasn't taken that pro mental lock-in leap.
No.
That's all it is. He's still, he's very young. Similar to what did we tell y'all about Tyler Hero, right? That that timeline is real. And I think it's the same. Luka is still in that. First of all, I'm dominating motherfuckers and I'm not even trying really. Because that's what it is. If we're being 100, he's not even going full tilt. And he's like, dude, I'm killing these boys. Go to the gym. I'm about to play video games and go kick it with my homies. I think that's where we're at. So, but until he locks in, that's going to be a very average ball team.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and I know they have a new coach and I know Carlisle's gone and all that, but it seems like they're still trying to get organized on that side as well. They had a lot of problems in the front office, and this is their first year with J Kidd and trying to get that stuff figured out.
Yeah, and hopefully J Kidd can get through to him too, right? I mean, you could say what you want to about J Kidd's coaching career. He is the one that kind of unlocked Giannis, put the ball in Giannis's hand and told him you're a beast, right? You remember Giannis really developed under him too, so maybe he can do the same thing. But I think Giannis also had a different mentality.
Right.
You look at Giannis's body when he got in the league and his body now, it's that is hard work. You don't that's 50 pounds of muscle mass. You know what I mean? While still working on your game and starting to dominate. That's a mentality that Luka obviously just doesn't have right now. And I don't know if he's going to get it. I hope he gets it, but again, I don't want to compare him to Giannis. I think Giannis had a different trajectory too. Giannis had to make himself that way. Whereas Luka came in the game ready to go.
Luka needs to watch some Kobe talk, some Kobe.
Somebody needs to
sit downs
or listen to LeBron.
Some conversations, something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
but yeah, that's what it is. They're going to be a 500 squad until he locks in and gets rocking. The league is too loaded for you to just pull up.
Can't do it,
and you're not going to win. You're not going to be winning games like that.
Look at James Harden.
You
can't just show up to an NBA season.
You know what I'm saying?
You got LeBron spending $2 million a year on his body, and you're over here showing up to the arena.
And
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think Luka could show up and get his buckets. He can get 28. Whatever, but that's fine. But he's not going to make the squad better. He's not going to elevate those dudes to a big time. If he's in shape, they beat the Clippers a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So it's the same story. It's the same shit we've been saying. So it is what it is. Speaking of James Harden, let's talk about Brooklyn.
Yeah. Good ball club.
It is a good ball club. They took care of business last night too. Waiting to see Kyrie.
Yeah, waiting.
He's back though.
Apparently, allegedly.
he's in the protocol. He's taking care of some of the back end red tape. How do you feel about that team when he gets back? And I'm just excited to see what happens and how it looks.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not excited because I think it's going to be amazing. I'm excited just to see this is so unprecedented that you're going to have a player who's not going to travel for road trips. Just play away. Or, I'm sorry, not play for home games.
Not play in New York, yeah.
Just play on road games. So I don't really know how that works. How does that work from a practice perspective? How does that fuck
what
with the guy?
What about a chemistry thing?
Because Patty Mills is balling right now. So if I'm Patty Mills, I'm hey, so you're gonna take a bunch of minutes away from me so that Kyrie can play one every 2 games, one every 3 games, or have weeks where he doesn't play because we have a homestand. I don't get it. How does that work?
Well, what's the option though?
There isn't an option. COVID forced their hand.
Steve Nash, but does Steve Nash have the heart to be look, bro, if you're not going to be back, I don't need you half back.
I don't think he does because I think they were fully prepared to not have him play this year if the COVID shit didn't get crazy. It got crazy and it played right into the fact that you have a guy who can go on road trips with you, right? So I don't know how bringing an unvaxxed player on the road makes your team safer, but that's another story. Yeah. That kind of stuck out to me. It's okay, COVID's an issue. Let's bring Kyrie on the road. I mean, a guy who's not really big on rules. So I think it'll be interesting, man. Like, obviously, it makes them a better ball club because Kyrie's an amazing basketball player. We've never sat here and said anything about Kyrie's basketball ability. Kyrie is an outstanding shooter. He's one of the best dribblers in the league. He's probably the best little man finisher I've ever seen. Right? If we're being completely honest at the rim, his finishes at the cup, his layup package is ridiculous. So like all that's going to matter, and they absolutely need it because they're not a deep team at all. Right? They're kind of relying on KD being superhuman to get a lot of these W's, which is fine. But
so let me ask you this: they
got some issues.
Is the right move for Nash to be like, I mean, I know you're coming back, but I'm cool?
No, because you can't, man. Because you got nights where you got 7 guys and guys are playing 42 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's just not sustainable. So the smart move is to play him. It's just he wins.
He wins.
And like we know we're both pro player here. We're always pro player.
I'm always pro player. Yeah.
But he shouldn't win in this situation.
Yeah.
Like it reinforces to him that he can continue to just be a dick and do whatever he wants and have no regard for team. Like it's the no regard for team thing.
So is he getting home game checks?
Yeah. They can't he could file a grievance if they don't pay him because the vaccine isn't mandated by the NBA. So they're paying, he's getting paid.
Well, I didn't realize. So then what? Yeah.
Just like Ben Simmons is getting paid.
Well, I mean, I'm always with that, but I mean, I guess.
But at some point, it's like, I'm all for like, hey, man, like, yeah, players have been getting jerked around forever, so they got to put themselves first. But at some point, you're putting yourself first with so far ahead of everybody else that like, it's just like, I have my rules. Like the rules don't really apply to me.
So is the NBA kind of copping out with not mandating it? They just like, hey, we'll just leave this to we're going to stand neutral on this?
So I know it has to be collectively bargained, and I know that that's going to be an issue.
Right. So,
yeah. It's got to be voted through the Players Association, and you're just not – I don't think it's going to happen. But at some point, if you're the players, it's like, all these COVID cases and the money is getting affected, right? Like, the money is getting affected, right? So at some point – it's the same thing with the NFL when they say, hey, we're really not going to cancel any games this year because the money gets affected. So y'all got to fucking figure it out.
This is what it is.
So once the money starts getting affected, because the one of the things about revenue sharing is the money has to go in there. And if the less money is less share, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty basic economics here. Less money, less share. So if we ain't seeing no game checks, and they felt it last year, because remember they had to reduce the salaries by X amount because they didn't have as much money from playing in the bubble. So like, hey, to me, that's when it starts talking. Because if I'm the Players Association president and I'm the reps and I'm like, hey, now we're talking about we start canceling games and we're not making them up or we're playing in empty arenas or we're doing this, that, and the third, and the money starts getting funny, that matters. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, I think at this point they should, because you're fucking playing a sport where the ability to spread it is very, very high. But, it is what it is, man. This is just crazy times.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you're seeing industries across the world mandate it, so I don't understand why they can't.
All right, let's talk the Bulls before we get over to this NBA or NFL. I want you to shed some light on your thoughts on this Kobe White situation, because we talked about it a bunch in the group chat yesterday. And I kind of was just reading. I didn't comment because my stuff hasn't really changed too much, in my opinion, on Kobe. I didn't really love him coming out. And
you were never really high on Kobe White.
I was never really high on Kobe coming out. But once he's on the team, I tried to show love and support, but he's just, I don't see it, man. I don't see him being an impact guy on the team going forward. So it's kind of like now I'm just in a situation where he's just whatever. And I think this plays perfectly into the hand of when you're a first-round draft pick and a top 10 pick, you either produce or you got to go.
Yeah.
Like if he wasn't a top 10 pick, say he's a second-round pick, he's not catching any heat.
You love him, yeah.
Yeah, any flack, nothing. He's like, oh, this guy can score a little bit. That's like, yeah, of course we'll keep him. But when you're a top 10 pick, the expectations are different. Shed some light on where you're at with Kobe and what we talked about last night in the group chat.
Well, you're 100% of that, because if Io has a shitty game, nobody cares. If it's it's house money for Io, right? And I love Io. There's no Io slander at all here. Right. I think he's fucking good. And he goes to what we talk about all the time is watch the film. I don't know, produce at a big time university, win a bunch of games, matter in college, in an elite program, in an elite conference.
And then what do you know? You impact games in the NBA.
You impact games in the NBA. Who would have thought Jalen Brunson? You know what I mean? So yeah. But for Kobe, man, like I don't view Kobe through the lens of the number 8 or number 7 pick of the draft anymore. I don't view Kobe through the lens of the point guard of the future. I don't view him through the lens of even a backup point guard. Like to me, all those expectations, all those thoughts of what we thought he might be when we drafted him, I got rid of those last year. You saw it last year. The man is not a starting point guard in the NBA. It really hinders his ability to play basketball, and he was so uncomfortable in that role. We talked about it every single time we talked about the Bulls. So pulling all that away, right, and just saying, okay, as a basketball player on the Bulls, and as a young guy, can he develop into anything that can be useful for us? I still think he can. Like, I really do. I think that as a guy who can score, specifically as a guy who can shoot at times, I know he struggled this year, but again, he's 21 years old. He's had 2 years playing out of position, especially last year. He's had 2 years of Jim Boylan fucking him up. I still think he has some value, especially in a team that is what? I think the Bulls are 29th in the league in bench scoring. So we're really not in a position to try to get rid of anybody on that bench who can put the ball in the basket. I don't think he should be playing 20 minutes a game. I'm not looking for Kobe White to start. I'm not looking for him to be a top 8 guy. But as a guy who you throw in there every once in a while, maybe on a stale offensive night, and just see what he has going. And if he has it going, great. And if he doesn't, it's kind of inconsequential. It doesn't really matter because he's not one of your top 8 guys. I'm fine with it. I'm just not ready to run guys out of town, especially this year with the COVID situation. Now, if you're able to package Kobe White into a deal where you can bring something back that's going to help, maybe some wing depth, you know what I mean? Maybe some big man depth, something like that, for sure. But I just told you, I'm not doing any 3-for-2s. I'm not doing any 2-for-1s, especially with a guy who can play at the NBA level. You saw nights like last night in the third quarter, he got it cooking for us, man. He helped us put that game away. So He has value in that situation, man. But again, in case of emergency, if it doesn't work, put him back on the shelf. So that's where I am with Kobe White. If you take away the first-round draft pick, if you take away the how's he developing as a point guard situation, and you just say, does he add any value to us as a basketball player? I still think he does.
I think it kills him that he has that PG in front of his name.
Yes.
It really kills him because the guys that, have that PG in front of their name, but our scores are like all-timer guys. Russ, James, Kyrie. Like these are guys that are they're score first point guards, creators.
Yep.
And he has this point guard in front of his name, and he's known as a point guard, but he does none of those things really well.
He can't dribble.
Yeah, and like he can't do a lot of things that a point guard needs to be able to do. And that's where he kind of gets jumbled up, where it's like that. And then we're like, okay, Kobe, don't run point. Give us some buckets. But then he gets the ball in his hands and he turns it over. He doesn't manage the rock well. And then he's not shooting it very well. So then it's like, man, get this guy out of here.
Get him out the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I hear you 100% about the depth. And, hey, in case of emergency, Kobe, come on down. Let's see if you can get something going like he did in the third. But like Eder said in our group chat we were talking about, the reason it was a tight game in the first place is because of how bad he played in the first half. So,
yeah. I mean, but getting cooked by Trae Young, I mean, join the list. That line is through the door, right? Like, you know what I mean? Good defenders, bad defenders, and everything in between. But
true.
Yes, I get it, yeah.
But yeah, so a couple things going against him on the narrative side, and then on top of that, he's not really going crazy when he's on the floor too. So
he doesn't seem to be a comfortable basketball player for a guy with that much talent. That I will say, like, he doesn't seem comfortable in a lot of roles, and he seems like when he's thinking, it really fucks up his game. Like, really fucks up his game. Like, he just can't be thinking out there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I got a funny text from a guy that doesn't lock in on too much hoops. And he's like, I'm watching the Bulls. And do they run any offense, or do they just give it to DeRozan and Zach? And
that is the offense.
And I started laughing, and I was like, nah, they'll run a little bit of but especially towards the end of the game and towards the end of the shot clock, Yeah, no,
it's heavy ISO.
It's heavy ISO. So that is
you can't really argue with it at this point. I mean, dude, that was another thing I want to talk about, like with DeMar. I know we talk about him every episode, but yo, there's like a confidence. He's so confident going to his spots.
Yeah,
like so confident going to his spots. Like he goes, defender or no defender, if he wants to pull up from mid range and that's what he has in his mind that he's going to do, that's what he's going to do. I don't care if it's over Bron, which he eyed Bron in that game, or I don't care if nobody's there, which we've seen don't do a bunch of times. He moves so well, he gets to his spot, and he shoots the ball confidently. It's just a confidence, a non-like wildness. You know what I mean? Like it's just so in control. It's measured. It's deliberate. Like, but it's still unstoppable.
Yeah,
100%. And then you add that in with Zach. I mean, again, like I could see how having just DeMar could lead into the narrative that he's had around him the last few years of like, yeah, he's always put up numbers, but they haven't won anything. But man, you put him with Zach LaVine, like it's just it changes the entire situation. Like he completely changed the entire situation for the Bulls. And we have these stretches where Zach doesn't have to go crazy and doesn't have to try to do everything. Because, you know, let's keep it real. Too much Zach's turnover prone as well. Yeah. Zach could give that bitch away. So, like, when you have somebody else out there that could take that ball out of his hands, that's been one of the huge differences for the Bulls. Like, Zach is not the guy where it's like, yo, have him control the rock for the entire fourth quarter and we're going to win the ball game because he makes a lot of mistakes. With DeMar out there, like, it just adds a balance to this team that I don't think anybody saw when that signing happened. So,
yeah. Let's leave it there.
Love it.
Let's leave it there. All right, let's go to the NFL. It's week 17 in the building, which is nuts. NFL season, regular season's over. I smoked off an MVP bet because the unthinkable happened. I've never seen anything like that in my fucking life.
Who'd you take?
For those who don't know, 2 weeks ago, I tweeted out, I'm hammering Tom Brady to win MVP. I'm eating the juice. I'm adding to the ticket that I already have. I already had a plus 400 ticket on Brady to win the MVP.
This is back-to-back years you've doubled down on MVP bets, correct?
And then he goes out and
lays an egg.
I mean, beyond lays an egg. They got shut out. He turns the ball over twice. All his players get hurt, and he is immediately out of the MVP conversation right after that. So I had to hedge that week. I put some on Rodgers. Now Jonathan Taylor's in the mix, so I could really get burned if Jonathan Taylor wins the MVP, but I don't think he does. I think they give it to Aaron. This guy, Aaron Rodgers, doesn't make any mistakes. I've never seen anything like it. He makes zero mistakes.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
every single week he doesn't make any mistakes. Yep. I don't even understand. I would love to go back through his he has 96 interceptions. I bet you 45 of them are tip balls.
Yeah.
Like I really I can't even remember the last time he just threw a pure interception.
Well, listen, he's got 4 picks on the year, and 2 of them came in that Saints game in week 1.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous.
So since that Saints game in week 1, he's thrown 33 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
and it's every single week, no matter where you're at, what time of day, who he's playing, doesn't matter. The guy doesn't make any mistakes. It's incredible. I do want to talk about the power rankings, and I guess that's where you're at on some of these guys. And I want to go through some teams, and I'm going to give you the option. You own these teams, and would you fire the head coach or not? But we'll get to that. But should we open up? What do you want to talk about first for the NFL?
Let's talk about these teams. Let's talk about these power rankings.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it. Who's the best team in the NFL right now? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs?
It might be. Quite 8 straight.
Yeah.
And it was funny. So when they were 3 and 4, we talked about it, right? And we said, man, that fucking defense. That defense is so bad they can't do anything. We know their offense is spectacular, but that defense can't do anything. Boy, over the last 2 months, defense has been phenomenal.
Steel curtain.
Phenomenal. Shout out Steve Spagnuolo, whatever his name is. Spagnola. Shout out Spagnola. Whatever they did, they made some adjustments on defense. Defense started playing. They got healthy. And all of a sudden, Pat Mahomes doesn't really have to go out there and be
Tyrann Mathieu woke up the boys.
Tyrann Mathieu woke those boys up. And ever since then, in this 8-game winning streak, man, again, we always knew that this team was gonna. Oh, I think we lost you for a minute. Hello?
Yeah, we're back. I'm good. You good?
Yeah. You were saying, remember when what?
Remember when they tried to bury Tyrann Mathieu and he was a bad guy and he was
at LSU
because he smoked a little tree?
Yeah, of course. What?
Cut it out, man.
Cut it out. Stop it.
Stop it.
Been a model citizen in the NFL.
Yeah, nothing but it, dude.
Model citizen in the NFL.
Man, he's been a monster.
But yeah,
forever.
so over this 8-game win streak, man, I mean, they fixed the defense. You don't have Mahomes going out there trying to be Superman every single play, which has really helped them out and kind of calmed him down a bit. And they're playing comfortable and confident. And quietly on this 8-game win streak, too. I feel like everybody else is talking about every other team because people bury the Chiefs so early. And they've completely turned it around. And guess what? They still have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they're 11-4 now.
They're 11-4.
They're 11-4. I mean,
just like
what
that.
Else do you want?
Yeah, just like that. So
they're probably going to finish the year 13-4.
Yeah. So without a doubt, I think that's the best team in the NFL. And I think the second, man, it's crazy because I don't think their team is that good. Like on paper, it's not like, man, this team scares the shit out of me. But because they have Aaron Rodgers, it has to be the Green Bay Packers. He plugs so many holes. He plugs so many holes. There's nobody in the NFL that plugs more holes than Aaron Rodgers.
This team and this season reminds me of the last 2 Green Bay Packers seasons. It seems like they catch so many breaks, Nick. I've never seen anything like it. Mayfield threw 4 picks and they won by 2 points.
Yeah.
At home. I mean, they seem to be always on the right end of turnovers, ref calls. The PI holding doesn't get called on the last play, on the last pick. It's a blatant hold and a first down for the Browns to continue the drive. Nothing happens, right? And then you know where it catches up to Green Bay? In the NFC Championship. They bump into a real dog in the NFC Championship and they get smacked. And that's what's happened the last, I don't even know, 3 years or 2 years now.
2 years.
They lost to Tampa and then they lost to the Niners. And
they've been 12-4 and made it to the NFC Championship each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, so then there you go.
I think LaFleur has the best 3-year start of any head coach in
NFL history or something. And then they get clipped in the NFC Championship because I think a lot of that stuff catches up to them.
Yeah. So the team isn't that good.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know.
Team's not that good. It's Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and then like blah. You know what I mean? Like it's not like that team is not great. Like you're not looking at superstars all over the place. It's a solid football team. It's a well coached football team. I'll give.
It's one of those things. If they get to play in Lambeau.
But if your quarterback plays flawless every week, it's proof. Your quarterback plays flawless every week, you will have a chance to win a lot of games in the NFL. Period. Point blank.
And that's what he does.
And that's what he does.
They have 3 losses. One is the first week of the season where Rodgers literally had been kicking it the whole summer.
Yeah, he put a loop and just showed up.
He just showed up in flip-flops. Remember when they did like the over-the-top dude?
Yeah,
he showed up in flip-flops, a T-shirt, and sunglasses. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll come back and play for you guys, even though I hate you.
Yeah.
They lost that game. Then the other game they lost was Rodgers was out. Jordan Love
game. Yeah.
Jordan Love played. They lost that game.
If that's what you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost that game.
Attempted to play football.
And then they lost a shootout to Minnesota in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 losses for Green Bay. One is you could chalk it up to them not being ready. Then Aaron Rodgers is out. And
Minnesota's the only real is the true loss.
Is a true loss, right?
That wasn't Aaron Rodgers' fault at all.
Yeah. We'll see. I think it's interesting. In the latest ESPN power rankings, they have Dallas at 3 in front of Tampa Bay, the Rams, Buffalo, New England, all those guys. How do you feel about Dallas being up there? They did the other night was very impressive.
They smacked the shit out of the Skins. So I mean, yeah, of course, right? Like, I'm sorry, watch the football team.
Yeah,
but there's not a very good team.
I did that on national TV the other day. I was like,
that's not good. But they've been but that's also a team that's been decimated by COVID, and that's what they're supposed to do, right? Obviously, 56-14 is special. So I think coming off of that, and the Cowboys are always going to get a crazy amount of national love. So they beat somebody by 40+ points. Of course, they're going to be 3rd in the power rankings. It's a solid team, though, man. I mean, I like that team, but again, I don't trust Mike McCarthy. Like the blunders will catch up to you in a big moment. They always do. They always do on these guys who make these big mistakes. These Bill O'Briens, these Mike McCarthys, when it matters, and he's skated away from it because he's had a lot of questionable decisions this year that could have gone the other way. Talk about a team catching breaks. They have caught some breaks on some bad Mike McCarthy's decisions. Like what he said the other day, the ozone. Did you see that quote? The ozone?
I didn't see that. I saw a couple
you didn't see that? Oh my God. They asked him why he didn't call a timeout to get another playoff. So it's going into the half. There's like 7 seconds left. And he definitely has enough time to call a timeout and get another play. Instead, he lets the clock run down and kick a field goal, right? And they asked him, like, why didn't you, call a timeout and try to get another play? He's like, yeah, we call that area of the field the yellow zone or the ozone. And then, in that play we have it was just a rambling answer that made no sense. They killed him on national TV for like 3 days for it. It was the most Mike McCarthy show I've ever seen in my life. So
he is really bad with the clock, man.
He's really bad with the clock, and that matters in the playoffs.
It does. That's
like where a head coach shines. The clock management matters.
That's something that could be fixed. Like go through some late game situations, like with the coaching staff, and be like, what should we have done here? What could we have done here? What could?
Well, here's the thing: Mike McCarthy's not a play caller, and he's not a defensive coordinator. So that's really why he's there, right? Like if you're that type of head coach, and you're not the chief play caller, and you're certainly not the defensive coordinator, you're there to manage the clock. You're there to be a game manager.
You're there to manage the game.
If you can't manage the game, I'd say that's probably an issue, right? So like, that worries me a bit about them. But I also feel like if you gave me the Rams versus the Cowboys in a playoff game, I'm taking the Rams.
I don't know, man.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I love Dak a lot.
I like that, of course.
And that offense that Kellen Moore is calling, they seem to really. You know what was impressive about the other night against Washington was they seemed to finally lean into like what they should be doing. It wasn't like, let's get Zeke the ball a bunch.
Yeah.
We got to get Zeke the ball. Then it was like, what's our best offensive game plan or production comes when Dak drops back and throws the ball.
Yeah.
And he threw it all over air raid.
Yeah,
just all over the place. Here's CD. Here's 7 catches. Amari Cooper, here's 8. Schultz, here's some balls for you. I mean, it's just like they finally were just like, man, let's go. We're comfortable. This is who we are. This is what we're gonna do. And
he's also coming off a few weeks where he hasn't really played great. So like Dak needed that. So I get where you're coming from on that. But at the same time, man, he's had some duds here. I mean, he threw 2 picks against the Skins last time out.
Some bad picks.
Threw a pick against the Saints. Threw 2 against the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So he's had some bad road games. So I think locking up home field is paramount for them. But I'm not putting them over Tampa, in my opinion. Oh, Tom Brady had a bad game. Sorry. What was that, like 6 in fucking 25 years? Yeah. Like, I don't even want to hear it. I heard someone say on ESPN the other day, they were talking about all the issues that the Bucs have had. I think it was Ryan Clark, and I love Ryan Clark, but this is absurd that we even still speak in these terms. They're talking about all the injuries and all the things the Bucs have had. And he was like, if Tom Brady can overcome this, it'll truly cement his legacy. I was like, what? Like, what? Cement his legacy.
Cement his legacy.
What the fuck legacy is Tom Brady cementing right now?
Yeah.
That shit was signed, sealed, and delivered 8 years ago.
Yeah, this frosting. If it
wasn't cemented for you when he went to a new team at 40 years old and won a Super Bowl in the first year, I don't really know what else he needs to do for you. Yeah. I don't. If you're still talking, it's the same people we're talking legacy with LeBron. I don't know. These guys could literally retire today, and we're good. I'm seeing enough. I've seen more than enough. So
how do you feel about them losing Godwin for the year? And
that's a huge loss for them.
Yeah,
that's a huge loss. I was watching some graphic where they're showing exactly how much they use him. He's one of those guys who move all over the field, and they use him as a blocker. And if you know Tom Brady, he loves those type of guys. He comes from New England, where multi-use players are what you want. So I think that's huge for them. It saved AB though. AB was going to get cut. COVID and Godwin getting hurt saved AB and brought him back to the roster because they were definitely done with his ass after that goofy COVID shit. So they get him back.
Listen, bro, I think that is Tom's guy.
It is his guy.
So he couldn't have been done because Tom got him on the roster.
Tom's like, hey, Bruce, we got to keep him. I'm sorry.
No, Tom's like, yeah, that's my guy. Oh,
that's my guy.
Tom really
he'll come stay with me for a couple weeks. We'll get him right. I'll get him right.
If you watch how they interact.
Yeah, he loves him.
And he loves AB, man.
Loves him.
He loves AB. He thinks, I don't know what it is or what they've talked about. Remember when he was going to let him come to the crib?
He was living in the crib. He said it for the first 2 weeks. He's living in the crib.
Dude, he loves AB, bro. Yeah, he loves AB. Like, that's what it is. I don't know if it's he thinks he's misunderstood or whatever else it is. But Yeah, he loves AB, loves what AB does, loves rocking with AB. So,
but yeah, and so like I'm good with them, man. Just because again, you know me, I'm not betting against Tom Brady until you give me a reason to, and I've been that way for years now. And
I also love.
Go
my
ahead.
fault. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, and then you get to the playoffs, he's gonna do his thing. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really loved how Aaron has kept it 100. That's the first time I've heard a coach being asked like a tough question about like some political type shit. They were like, so with you came out and said that AB was on a one strike thing, and then he comes out with this fake COVID vaccine, and you still have him on the team. Aaron is like, yeah, we need players. I don't have them. We need wideouts. We don't have any. And AB is a really good one, so I'm gonna bring him back. Next question. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't try to. He was like, yeah, listen, bro, we trying to win fucking games.
Trying to win ball games out here.
I'm not trying to. I know what I said, and I know what he did.
If we have a parade in Tampa in January, you won't be asking me about fucking AB.
He's coming back. So next question.
Yeah, next question.
Exactly.
Question. Yeah. So he just told you though. Exactly right. Like that's why he's there. So yeah, I trust them, and I think they fixed some things on their defense too.
Yeah.
Again,
No, I was gonna say before we get into I want to talk about Mayfield. I want to talk about Lamar Jackson, but I'm gonna give you some quick hitters on if you would fire this coach or not.
Well, if he resides in the palatial state in Scottsdale, the answer is yes.
Okay, well we'll close with that because I know you got some comments on that. But New York Jets, Robert Saleh. This is year 1. This is year 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, remember Adam Gase was there last year.
Adam Gase was there last year. Yeah, right. Okay. So then he doesn't get fired. We got to give him some more time. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway because I feel like you can color it up. Mike Tomlin, 7-7, no quarterback, nothing. You would obviously keep Mike Tomlin.
Other coaches are fucking 1-13. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. It is the program, it's the institution. There's a reason he's never had a losing season, which is much happens in the NFL. His quarterback is 47. His roster's aged. But if who else would you rather have lead the turnaround for this team? Mike Tomlin stays. If you fire Tom, it says a lot. And the Steelers they've had 3 head coaches over the last 70 years or something like that. Like it was Knoll, then it went to Cowher, and then it went to Tomlin. That's it. And they've always been good.
Yeah.
It's always a good program.
Let me ask you this.
And they win Super Bowls. So, yeah, no.
Washington football team, Ron Rivera. Does Ron Rivera get a little bit of too much love?
He gets a lot of love.
He gets a lot of love, bro. And I get he's beating cancer or beat it. I don't know exactly where we're at on that, but I think he beat it. He beat cancer.
Yeah, he did.
He's back. He's on the sideline. He's a really good guy. He's a defensive guy. Players like him, Ron Rivera type of guy, but he doesn't win very much.
No, he doesn't.
And they don't have a quarterback, and I get that. Would you fire Ron Rivera?
So I think you look at last year where they made it to the playoffs with they have like 8 different starting quarterbacks. By the end, it was Hinkie and all these guys. So I think you give a guy credit for that. I think if you're Washington and you've had just such a tumultuous last few years, whether it's the shit with the owner, it's the fact that you refuse to name your team, there's the Dre Gruden situations, there's the RG3 shit, there's the Kirk Cousins shit. Like, you've just had bad headlines. I think the one thing that Ron Rivera does, he's a stable voice in the locker room. He is a professional football head coach, doesn't take any shit. I mean, he came in there, looked at Haskins and said, I don't care when you're I'm done. Hey, get this guy the fuck out of here. We will not. I'd rather have no quarterback than this guy. Like that's what did they started somebody random that week, right? He was like, I don't even want get out of the building. I don't play that shit. So I think again, when you look at these teams who are trying to turn stuff around, like I almost look at what would you expect from him to do this year? Like the roster is shit. You got some good guys on defense, but you lost Chase Young early. You have no quarterback. You're in a rebuild. I would probably give him another year because I don't think you really get anything from firing him. You're just going to go straight back on the carousel.
Joe Judge, New York Giants.
Yeah, you got to go. That team has made no progress. Your quarterback keeps getting worse, and there's nothing to look forward to. I get you've had some injuries with Saquon Barkley, but the team is trash. I'm looking at almost everybody in the AFC East last year when no one wanted to win that division, and they let Washington win it with no quarterback. Like, you should have been a player in that situation last year, so I think you should lose your job. Because Daniel Jones, I don't know what we're doing here. Get someone else to get a look at him and then just make a decision if he's your guy or not. I mean, I haven't seen anything that would make me think he's your guy, but it can't be him and Judge again.
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest thing for me and the knock on Joe Judge is when he brought on Jason Garrett.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't get that. I don't understand that. So your offense, they don't. You want to talk about the Bears being a really bad offense? The Giants they're in the same caliber. They don't score any points any week. They do nothing on offense, and it's one of those things where I think Joe Judge does have to go. I'm going to have to agree. And that whole Daniel Jones situation is also interesting because it's another one of those situations where it's like top 5 draft pick now we're talking about.
Yep.
And he hasn't done shit. Turns the ball over a ton.
That's the problem. Like I said it yesterday in the group chat, like there's a big difference between the shitty quarterback who doesn't give the ball away and a quarterback that does. And you got a guy who consistently gives the ball away. You just can't work with it. You can't work with the guy who consistently gives the ball away, and his fumbling and interceptions have been a problem. Great athlete, right? But yeah, I don't know what you do with that. Yeah, fire him. Keep going.
Let's move to the NFC North. We have the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's a foregone conclusion. Yeah.
I mean, get him out of here ASAP.
And not even emotionally. Like, I think even if I loved Matt Nagy, I'd be like, you got to fire him after this. It's just they can't score.
And you know how the
fucking Lions put up 30 on Sunday. The Bears can't score. I don't get it.
You know how the season ends and people get fired? I'm talking about this man needs to be fired right when the last second goes off the last game of the regular season. He needs to be fired right then.
Yep.
I'm not talking about wait a couple days. I don't need to hear a press conference closing out the year. None of that shit. Fire this guy immediately after the season's over.
He's done.
Pure point blank.
Yep.
All right. Dan Campbell's in year 1. I wouldn't fire Dan Campbell. Would you fire Dan Campbell?
No, it seems like they really play hard for that guy. That they don't have anything. They don't have any players. They have no talent at all. I mean, they really just have zero talent. And then you compound that with Jared Goff. Like I think it says a lot when it, like you saw after they won and he gave the game, like those guys really fucking play for that dude.
Yeah.
He seems like a player's coach. I know he's corny, right? Very, very like old school football coach, cliche, rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, give him a chance. You're the Lions, dude. You can't fire a coach every year. No one's going to want to go take that job.
Yeah, I agree.
Give him another chance. Yep. Zimmer?
Tampa's safe. Atlanta's coach
you didn't go to Minnesota? Because I'm firing that guy.
Yeah, Zimmer. You're firing Zimmer.
Oh, I've been firing Zimmer. I'm firing Zimmer after the Lions game. Yeah, I'm firing. Zimmer's fired. How many years are they going to be mediocre? I mean, they have a roster. They have talent. You have a quarterback that you pay money to. You have an elite wide receiver. You've had talent on defense.
A couple.
You've had draft picks come through there. This is a team that's shown that they can compete, but it's inconsistent. This is one of the most inconsistent teams in the league. Like as far as talent and production matches.
You know what? You're so right, and I never even thought, just because I think he's a solid coach, so I didn't even think to fire him. But they've been mediocre for the last 7 seasons he's been there.
They're mediocre. They lose games they shouldn't lose, but win games they shouldn't win. It's just there's no consistency to that. And then when that's the case, like you can't do anything with that. The Packers just win this division every year just by showing up. So I think Minnesota should be way more competitive ball club. I think he is skated by a lot of criticism. And I told you after that fucking Lions game where he fucking dropped all of his safeties on the goal line offense, it didn't guard anybody, didn't make any sense. So they've had a lot of blunders like that. I'm firing Mike Zimmer and getting somebody in there that can do something with that talent. And then Kirk Cousins, we've given a lot of shit. Kirk Cousins is playing lights out football this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, I mean, listen, the new coach could then have the opportunity to decide if they want to go with Kirk again or go get another or do whatever they want to do. And
if you're a defensive coach and your defense isn't that great, which theirs isn't, that doesn't match up with me either. Just like if you're an offensive coach, Nagy, and you can't score points, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
I'm moving on from Zimmer because I think that team has a lot of talent.
Okay. I actually agree with you. So I never, and I swear to God, that's just the first time I've even thought about it. So yeah. I agree with that. All right, Tampa Bay, you're not firing Arians. I don't even know the Falcons. I forget the Falcons head coach's name.
Arthur Smith.
I think
I'm not firing him, but we brought this up in the chat. Hey, if I'm Atlanta, trade Matt Ryan.
Yes.
If you can get all that for Stafford, and let's keep it real, Matt Ryan has had a better career than Matt Stafford. So if you can get all that for Stafford, If you get all that for Stafford and Matt Ryan still has football left in him, if I'm a contender, if I'm Denver, if I'm fucking throw out some teams that have good rosters but no quarterback.
Yeah,
if I'm
Cleveland,
one of these, Cleveland, if I'm any of these guys,
Denver,
I am lining
Cleveland.
up for Matt Ryan. He can still play. Okay, I know we all have our own opinion on him, but
I don't love Matt Ryan.
We don't love him, but I mean, he's an upgrade over a lot of guys in the league, and he has played good football. And again, if you want to try to have the Stafford effect of removing a guy from a situation where it's just not working, and if you're Atlanta, Ryan is good enough to win you 6 or 7 games every year, but you really need to be bottoming out and trying to get a new quarterback in there.
Yeah.
Get a couple picks for him. Like, that's what teams want. Denver, San Francisco, any of these guys should be lined up to make a call on Matt Ryan.
So not fire Smith, but package
he's
up
brand
Matt
new,
Ryan.
But package up Matt Ryan and hit the reset. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, hit the reset. It didn't work. You got an MVP in a Super Bowl appearance out of it. Hit the reset. It's okay.
Sean Payton. I would love for them to fire Sean Payton so we could pick him up.
Yeah, sure. But they're not going. As long as he doesn't bring Taysom Hill with him.
Listen, Sean Payton is in the not fired category, not getting fired category.
No,
he's going to be the guy that steps down.
Yeah.
He's in the step down category. No,
Absolutely.
no firing for Sean Payton is happening.
No, he's not going to step down though. Go ahead.
Matt Rule, Carolina Panthers,
7-year contract and all that money, and that team has done nothing. What they won 3 meaningless games at the beginning of the year and haven't done shit since. Quarterback's been a disaster, but they're the ones that wanted to trade for Sam Darnold because apparently you could salvage a guy who loves to give the other team the ball. I don't think you can fire him because you owe him too much money. Would I fire him? Probably not. I'd probably give it 1 more year. I think 3 years is fine, especially with a guy making the adjustment from college to the NFL. But they gave all that money for a college coach that no one had ever heard of.
I think this is the thing too, man. If you're when you give him 7 years, you're signing up. You yourself as a franchise is signing up for this guy needs time. This is not a 3 year. This is not a 4-year deal.
Exactly.
Y'all signed up for 7, so you at least got to give him 3, 4.
Yeah, you think I'm a program builder, and apparently that's what he was in college. He go to programs and save them, right? So
right.
He fixed Baylor after the Art Briles shit. So yeah, give him the time to do his thing. I don't think you get anything for firing a guy 3 years into a 7-year deal when you gave him Sam Darnold.
Yeah. All right, let's close it. Well, did they give him Sam Darnold, or was he with that addition?
I never understood why they didn't stay with Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't see that. From Bridgewater to Darnold was a huge leap. Like, I watched the film. Sam Darnold's not good.
Yeah,
he shows some flashes. He has some talent, but he is the king of turnovers.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All right, let's get into the NFC West because
there's some folks over there that need to get fired.
Cliff Kingsbury's 10-5.
Fired
right now.
Every year,
but they've been struggling.
They always start off nice, and they always fall apart in the second half of the year. That says a lot, and that's not, you want to go into the playoffs hot, not the other way around.
You would fire Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
and we've been talking about Cliff Kingsbury.
These are bad losses. At home, divisional game against the Rams. A game you lose to the Lions. I get the Colts are hot, but it's another game you lose at home. Like, these are issues.
Yeah, they're 3-4 at home and 7-1 on the road. But I think the biggest indictment is that this is the 3rd year in a row they've started the season really well and then closed it out really poorly.
Yep. And do you have any confidence in them heading into the playoffs?
Not right now.
Coming off an 18-point loss to the Lions where they got thoroughly owned.
Hopkins is a big piece that's missing. But yeah, you would fire him though.
Yeah, I think if this doesn't end with if he doesn't win a playoff game, you have to win a playoff game. You have to win a playoff game. If you don't win if you simply just making the playoff with the team that started off 8-0, is that right? Weren't they 8-0 or 8-1? And I get you had 2 games with Colt McCoy, but you won one of those ball games, so you really can't use that as an excuse. Would be an issue. And Kyler Murray's regressing towards the end of the year. Like, this isn't how it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be getting better.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that falls on the head coach, and you're supposed to be an offensive genius and a whiz kid play caller, but they've won a lot of games off defense. So it's another guy.
This one is tough because...
And he should get fired and not move out because I probably wouldn't leave that crib.
And I get it's a what have you done for me lately league. But if this is flipped, we're talking about him being coach of the year. But since it's not flipped, he deserves to get fired. They're 10-5. I don't know, man.
They're 10-5 and might end the season at 11-6 and lose in the first round of the playoffs. So now you're looking at over 3 years. He is what? 500. He's 23-23 over 3 years.
Yeah, no.
5-10, 8-8, 10-5.
And if you look at the back half, they're
never
way
good.
Below 500.
They're never good.
So I mean, I never liked the hire in the first place.
I hated the hire. He got fired from Texas Tech. Didn't he get hired as USC's offensive coordinator? And then they got hired for like a week as SC's offensive coordinator
from Texas Tech.
No, he came straight from Texas Tech, but he got hired at USC as the offensive coordinator, and then got offered the Cardinals job and took it. He never went to USC, but he got hired. It was either USC or somebody's offensive coordinator after he got fired from Texas Tech.
You said his charming persona just rolled him into USC and then the Cardinals, huh?
Exactly, dude. He got here it is. USC. He got hired as USC's offensive coordinator, but then the Cardinals hired him the head coach.
Can you imagine? You can't get you're not getting
college
too
job
as a head coach in college, and then all of a sudden the Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals, like, hey, you want it? What? Yeah. After being a mediocre college coach at Texas Tech.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. No doubt. All right, let's close it out here. This is the last squad because I do want to talk about Baker before, so we don't run too long. Pete Carroll, Seattle Seahawks. Is that a step down?
We already talked about that.
Is that a hey? Let's go ahead and step down.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. I think he's going to call it a career. I think that team needs to make some changes, and I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to do it. He's had a hell of a career. I think he's the oldest or second oldest coach in the NFL, 70 years old.
Relax, Pete.
He fucking he matrixed out of the USC situation. Dodge a couple bullets, get out there real quick. Let me head to Seattle. I know
Super Bowl.
Sean calls him the bandit.
Yeah. He's out.
The thief in the night.
Thief in the night. I'm going.
Got out of SC unscathed. It's unhireable in college still. They had to show cause to hire Pete Carroll in college. Great career, but right off to the sunset. To get somebody new in there, I think that relationship has ran its course. Yeah, and it's fine.
And I think Russell Wilson would say that as well. So I think that's the biggest indictment on the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's fine, man. It's all good.
They had a great stretch in Seattle.
What a run. Yeah, what a run. Yeah. What a great run by him. And he's the one, he'll always get credit too for making the call on Russell Wilson. Because remember, they had given Matt Flynn all that money.
Yep.
And he saw Matt Flynn, he saw Russell Wilson. I'm going with the 4th round pick. You guys can figure the rest out. I don't care how much money you gave to Buddy. I'm going with this guy. Which was a huge move and a franchise-altering move, right?
Franchise-altering move, no question.
Got you to 2 Super Bowls, got you to a bunch of NFC championships, won you a bunch of games. That mixed in with the phenomenal defense. So, yeah, but I think that is a situation that's done. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, no. I love Kyle Shanahan.
Too safe from the Super Bowl run a couple of years ago? Do you think he doesn't get any flack?
He doesn't get any flack. he doesn't get any flack, but I like him as a head coach. I'm not firing him. I think they dealt with a shit ton of injuries last year.
Sure.
I think if you get that dude like a legitimate quarterback, like they are spooky. So we'll see, what they come back and how because it looks like Garoppolo is going to be out. Somebody got like a torn something in his thumb, or his thumb's broken or something. So it might be Trey Lance time. So we'll see what happens there. But no, I'm not. I'm on record saying, please fire him and then bring him here. Yeah.
And I think he kind of fits to what you were talking about when we're talking about, like, oh, should we give these guys year 3, year 4? Kyle Shanahan's first year, 6-10, second year, 4-12, third year, NFC championships, 13-3 in the Super Bowl. So you got to give.
And then the year after that, everybody got hurt. The whole team.
So maybe you do give Judge another year because that's year 3. But I don't see.
You don't see any hope over there. There's a lot of hope. If you watch the Niners on a weekly basis, like they look very lively.
Yeah.
And they could get in the playoffs and make some real noise. So
remember that year that they were 4-12, they traded for Jimmy at the end of the year and he was playing lights out, and then they went to that next year.
Yeah.
And he led them to Super Bowl. So I think that I'm not firing Shanahan, but there's a lot of guys around the league that for sure need to go.
Yeah. We'll keep it there. All right, let's close the show on I want to talk about Baker Mayfield and the contract situation, because we are on record, and I am on record saying in this situation, I would rock with Baker Mayfield. They have a great run game. Stefanski seems to know what he's doing. They have a great young defense. They're just missing the quarterback. But this was also in the same breath of me saying, get your money now. And now we're in the situation where the floodgates are now back open on Baker Mayfield, and everyone's saying how bad he is and he sucks and he has no business being he's not a franchise quarterback. This is why you get your money when it's fever pitch levels, you won the most games the Browns have won in a minute. You're beating the Steelers. You beat them in the playoffs. I need my contract now.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. And I'm not playing until I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about early on in the summer, so we have plenty of time to work this out. Hey, listen, guys, I need a new deal, or don't expect to see me. You have no business going into the year without a new deal, because this is exactly what could happen. You don't play as well. Stuff goes wrong. Chubb gets hurt. Next thing you know, everyone's calling you garbage week in, week out. And now, I don't want to say damaged goods, but it's going to be your leverage is dust.
You have no leverage.
That's why I say go get the money when you can and when you need. There's no reason he should have went into this year without a brand new sparkling deal. So then when you play like shit, you at least got paid.
Yep. So Baker Mayfield currently right now in the 4th year of that deal. They did exercise the 5th year option, so he is on the hook next year for $18.8 million. But like you said, after that, he's a free agent, right? And if you're the Browns, and I think you have to get that deal done. If I'm not mistaken, you got to get that deal done before next year, right? Like, or else he goes into some sort of free agency.
Oh, you mean the window for the Browns?
If you do an extension, yeah. So for them, I mean, you're really in no situation else, but all you can really do is franchise him for 2023. Like, he is the prime candidate for franchise tag. It's going to cost you a ton of money, but I am in no position. I would not feel comfortable handing this guy a long term.
So they exercised the 18 for this next coming year?
Next coming year, 2022, he's on.
But couldn't they cut him?
If they wanted to,
and not pay the 18?
Yeah, no, I think that's guaranteed. That money's guaranteed. It's guaranteed $18.8 million next year. Because that's that 5th year option that you have on first round draft picks. So
but that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're not exercising shit.
Oh, so you're not even exercising the 5th year option on him?
No. I'm talking about Mayfield.
Oh, Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Well, no, he came in the season nonchalant about his deal. He's like, I'm not worried about my deal. Same thing Lamar Jackson said.
You can exercise all you want. I'm just
giving a background on where he is on his contract right now. As far as, is it a next year thing? It's a year after next year where you're really looking into, you have to decide what you want to do. Man, he hasn't played well. He played really bad this weekend. The team has not performed. It's not a situation where he could even be like, hey, we're winning games despite some of my struggles. The team has not performed well. They haven't looked good. And now he's in a situation where, kind of like you said, where he probably could have signed a solid deal this offseason. Now he's looking at 18 next year, probably 30 the year after on that franchise tag. And if he doesn't play well,
how does he even get to the franchise tag?
Yeah.
He'd have to have a light out year next year. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like,
so you're saying if he's mediocre again next year, you're not even franchising him. You're just moving on.
Why would I franchise him? I just saw 2 years in a row of him being mediocre. And then the year before that,
he's only played one good year as his rookie year. If we're going to be completely honest here, he was really good as a rookie and has regressed every year since then. One of those years was the Freddie Kitchens situation. Shout out Freddie. But
it's just when you're watching, and it's when you're watching a guy, it's like, this guy doesn't have it.
Doesn't have it. That interception he threw to end the game the other day was
that was PI though. But
yeah, it was.
But the three other before that were terrible too.
Terrible.
He was throwing balls behind his wide receivers the whole night.
Yeah.
Not even on completions, they were behind him. So I think that's the thing. And that leads me to Lamar Jackson. You can't come into the year without a new deal. Now you get hurt. And now, if I'm the Ravens, listen, we're pro player, but if I'm the Ravens, I'm like, man, Huntley came in. He looked solid.
Yeah.
He's not Lamar Jackson level, but I'm going to have to tick off some millions off Lamar's deal because,
that's fine. He has so much more leverage than Baker Mayfield. So that's fine.
But I'm saying this is
Lamar has other team leverage. Baker doesn't really. Like no one's giving Baker.
But you feel what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
You come off a really, really good year. You get a deal. Go get a deal because you don't know what can happen. Your whole offensive line can get hurt, and then now you're looking bad, and stuff's not your fault. There's a lot of stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when you have a good year and you're impactful and your team is winning and you're in the playoffs and you got
money
and you have a good relationship with the head coach and Harbaugh, You guys both walk into the, hey, man, I need a deal. That's it.
Need to get paid.
I need to get paid. So that's where I'm at, and we'll see what happens with Baker and with Lamar. But yeah,
I just
man,
feel like Lamar's in a much better situation in that
he's a much better quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to sign a massive deal. It's just a matter of when and where. Whereas Baker,
or do you just keep you tagging?
That's fine. Then he can do the Kirk Cousins, get tagged for 3 years, and then go. I mean, hey, yo, that third year tagging somebody is not. It's like $100
million.
Yeah. So,
the third year tag is like $90 million.
Kirk Cousins, criticize him all you want. He showed he's about his paper. He said, "Y'all keep franchising me all you want," because eventually the Redskins were paying him like $32 million. He's like, "Fine,
yeah,
sure, great, yeah, whatever."
But yeah, I think when you look at Baker, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it, and then Lamar. Depending on what salesman's in the room, you could get a guy that could get in there with Lamar and talk him down too. Because I'm on record saying this. I don't love Lamar throwing the ball either.
Yeah, we know that.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's depending on who's in the room.
He's won so many games. Like Lamar's record as a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he has impacted winning since he's been in the league. But yeah.
So
get your money though. Always get your money, man. You know me. We're the biggest proponents of holding out ever.
Burrow,
I would hold out.
I'm holding out this year.
I'm not even showing up.
Yo, Burrow, I need a new deal next year.
I'm putting the film on of that throw I made the other day and said, "Hey, listen, man. Y'all got 3 games to figure it out.
y'all already shredded up my knee year 1.
Yeah.
I bounce back and show y'all what time it is in year 2. We got a ton of young guys locked and loaded. I need a deal.
Hey,
that's it.
These non-guaranteed deals go both ways.
Yes.
Rip this motherfucker up and get me a new one.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
I need a deal.
Do
the Ezekiel Elliott. Hey, Ezekiel Elliott showed. I'm on year 2 of the deal. I think I need a new one.
Jonathan Taylor?
Shit.
I need a deal.
Hey, if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm like, man, we've won 7-9 off my legs? Nah, hold on.
I need a deal.
Hey, Frank, y'all see how much money you gave Carson bum ass to throw the ball 11 times? I need a deal.
There's
a deal.
That's it.
What do the numbers look like for next year? I need a deal. I really need a deal.
Simple as that. I don't care what my deal says right now. Coming off the year he's having, I need a deal.
I need a deal. I'm hurting, and the only thing that can fix me is I'm injured. What's wrong? My pockets.
I need a deal.
I need a deal. This ain't adding up.
Man. This ain't adding up.
That's a great point.
And I know y'all don't trust Wentz, so I need a deal.
You really like for real. Prime candidate. If it ever happened to hold out in the season, prime candidate is Jonathan Taylor. I am literally the entire program here, plus the defense.
Yes, I need.
But offensively, we can't do anything without me. I need a fucking deal.
You need a deal.
This is crazy. I'll be out the league in 3 years. I need a fucking deal.
Exactly. No cap.
Yeah. Yep.
I need a deal. That's it.
Yep.
All right, we'll leave it there, man. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. You know the deal. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Happy New Year to everybody, man. We'll see y'all next week.